Hello and a warm welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend preview. Plenty of action coming your way this weekend. We've got Kempton, we've got Newcastle, and we've even got some action out in Saudi. I'm sure I'll give you a selection out there as well for the Saudi Cup happening on Saturday evening. First of all, we'll have a quick discussion just with regards to last week. We don't often do that, but it's probably worth just having a quick discussion with regards to Shishkin Jack bouncing back to form. I know we've got our preview night happening next Friday night. The video will probably come out on the following Sunday, but let's have a quick discussion of how great it was to see him come back to form.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? I mean, for the sport as a whole, you want to see these superstars, and these once superstars sometimes struggle to come back. But no, he's come back, and he's come back in good style. The step up and trip helped, and yeah, Nicky Enders is an absolute magician.
He really is, and it was fantastic to see one of the best performances he's ever put up, really. And looking forward to finding out what Niall and Batch have to say about that and seeing whether he's one of the bankers of the festival, according to them. Let's get into this weekend. Then we'll start off with Kempton. We'll look at 4 races there. Then we'll look at the Ida at Newcastle, and then we'll look at our other selections across the cards over the weekend. So we'll start off at Kempton with the 150, which is the 2-mile Coral Juvenile Hurdle. This is a Grade 2 event, obviously for the 4-year-olds, and Scriptwriter is the 2-1 favourite. Nuzrit 4-1, Rare Middleton 4-1, Percy's Way 7-1, Power Puri 10-1, Sarson's Risk 11-1, Spartan Army 25s, and the Churchill Lad the outside the lot at 40-1. Usually I go to you first, Jack. I'll start this off and I'll keep it quite simple. I think Scriptwriter's just going to go and win this. He looked like the winner at Cheltenham last time out. I mean, he just got outstayed up the hill, didn't he, by Comfort Zone. This is the shortest price. What we've got to remember, this is the shortest price British horse for the Triumph Hurdle at the festival. Now, I do think he's going to win this, and he is going to go maybe a point or two shorter, potentially, for the race. Is he going to win the Triumph? Absolutely not. The Irish are just going to dominate that race, and I know this horse is going to go for it. It'll be great to see him run a big race, but I just think that this horse here shows plenty of speed. I think the return to a flatter track is also going to suit. I just think he's going to take some beating. Nuzrit will be the interesting one, though. That horse is going to be looking to enhance the form of Blood Destiny for those anti-post backers. I know a lot of people kind of 50-50 between Lossiemouth and Blood Destiny, so a lot of people will be hoping that Nuzrit runs well. But Jack, I'll keep it simple. It is a favourite, but I'll go with Scriptwriter at 2-1. What about yourself?
Hey, look, I'm going to have to agree with you. I mean, he just hasn't really done anything wrong as of yet. I mean, even when he was put back on the flat at Wolverhampton, he still won there. But look, I didn't think he was going to like the soft ground last time out at Cheltenham. But as you said, he did look like the winner. But I just don't think he stayed in the soft ground. I think this return to a much better sounder surface will suit as well. He pulled 6.5 lengths clear of Dixon Cove. I think that, as I say, I think on this ground he's going to be very, very tough to beat. Really not having Nusret whatsoever. I know a lot of people really fancy him for the Boodles, but he's been beaten at a cumulative 34 lengths on his last 2 outings. His jumping has a lot to work on. I mean, he weakened remarkably so behind Blood Destiny when finishing 3rd there. He was 2nd going to the last, absolutely flapped his way through and then couldn't even finish 2nd on the run-in. So no, he'd have to improve, I think, £5-10 for me. Look, I think he's actually £3 better off than Scriptwriter on ratings, which I think is a bit of a farce, being honest. I think Nusret's going to have to improve £10-15 if he was to win here, then fair enough. But I think it's all about Scriptwriter.
It certainly is, yeah. Look, it's a 2-1 favourite to kick things off, but I think he could be quite a good thing in the opener at Kempton. Let's move on to the 225. Then it's the 2.5 mile Coral Pendle Novices Chase, another Grade 2 event here. And Boot Hill is the 7-4 favourite. That's All Right Gino is 3-1. Solo is 7-2. Tweed Skirt 11-2. And JJ Riley, the outside of the 5, at 14-1. Jack, do we just move on to another favourite here, or are you going elsewhere?
Unfortunately, I think I am. I'm a huge fan of That's Right, Gino. I napped him up at Cheltenham at 12-1 when he was behind Stage Star, and it kind of really hurt because he was 10 lengths clear of the rest. But I think he just prefers a left-handed galloping track. It's the first time he's gone right-handed since his debut. And I mean, he's kind of just been running on these big left-handed galloping tracks: Cheltenham, Doncaster, Newbury, Chepstow. This is going to ask a lot more different test of him at Kempton. So I do think if he is good enough, he's going to go on to win it. But I think a lot of people kind of don't give Boot Hill the credit he deserves. I mean, when he beat Orcombe Risk, everyone thought it was an all right piece of form. Albeit Orcombe Risk came back over hurdles, he still went and won the Betfair against the good thing in Filey Bay. So I do think that Boot Hill is definitely the worthy winner here. Solo's an interesting one. He's very consistent. I mean, we've seen Pic D'Orhy at Kempton performing as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Solo goes. But no, I'm going to swear away from That's All Right, Gino. If he becomes one of these horses that I seem to get wrong every time, when I don't back him, he wins, and when I do, he doesn't, I'm going to start getting a little bit annoyed. But hopefully, Boot Hill will go in here.
This is one of those, isn't it, this weekend, where it's going to be similar to what happened on the Only Fools Love Horses channel earlier in the week for us, where I am with Langadan, the Martin Piper, and you suddenly deserted him, but I'm going to go with a horse that you're deserting here, and I'm actually going to stick with That's All Right, Gina. Now, I think I agree with you with regards to Boot Hill, doesn't get enough credit. Now, this horse has been consistent. Look, I mean, we've seen this horse actually plenty of times this season, 6 times in fact, and bar pulling up on seasonal debut, he's actually been throwing in first and seconds, left, right and centre, so he's been ever so consistent, albeit in some small fields, but I just think That's All Right, Gina may take this out, Jack. Like you say, he was well fancied for that novices handicap chase at Cheltenham last month and threw in a huge effort. He really did run well. I just think he just ran into a really good horse and stage star horse who's, put his claim in now for some of the graded chases at the festival for sure. But That's All Right, Gina got given £4 that day and finished just over 3 lengths behind in second. I think it was a good run, and considering beating Unexpected Party as well, who's giving weight as well. So, look, I think this horse could run well. I think it'll be run at a clip, which I think this is what That's All Right, Gina will want. I think JJ Riley may set the pace in this and take it up from the lead. And I just feel this may be run to suit Jamie Snowden's horse. So I'll take the 3-1 about That's All Right, Gina. And Jack will be with Boot Hill in the 225 at Kempton. Let's go on to the big feature there then at Kempton, which is the 3 o'clock. It's the 3-mile Coral Trophy Handicap Chase, a premier handicap there. And Captain Orr is your 5-1 favourite. And Sam 6-1. St Calvados is 13-2. Our Power is 8-1. Clondor Castle 9-1. The Mighty Frodon at 10-1 and 12-1. And Bigger the rest. And after last weekend, I think it's Christian Williams season, baby. It's one of those with Christian Williams. It's almost like he's very quiet at the start of the season, then suddenly all of the trainers start putting their horses away for all the big spring festivals, and Christian Williams just has all of his horses prime. We saw Captain Orr win last weekend, and we see him once again this weekend. He's obviously got a good hand this weekend with also the Ida Chase, which he's got a strongly fancied runner in that as well. But Captain Orr, Jack, I'm going to stick with this horse 5-1. I mean, a lot of people don't like it, but it's kind of an each way bet to nothing, money back if he places. But went up £5 for last week's win. Now the talented Kian Quirk takes off £5 this time around, so essentially running off the same weight. And I think this is probably a stronger race than what he ran in last time, but I do think this is just a horse that's going to be on the up now for the next few months. And I just think during February, Christian Williams is going to be taking out plenty of good races. Another one that would be interesting, though, another horse that I actually put up at the start of the season. I think you might have been away, Jack, and Charlie Sharp was on, but I put up Our Power to win a race, and he ran a really good race at a fair price, I think about 6-1 back in October. We haven't seen this horse since, but I think that's a fast improving horse. Based on that run, looked like he had really improved. I mean, behind was Fullback and Sam T. Clipper. It wasn't actually a bad race at all. So I'll be sticking with the Welsh teams here. I think I'll be having an each way bet on Our Power and also Captain Orr in the Coral Trophy. They're not attractive each way prices, Jack. Have you got anything at an each way attractive price, or are you with the top of the market?
I don't have something at an attractive each way price, unfortunately. I really, really fancy St Calvados here at 13-2. I think he's going to drift even more to 7-1, maybe even 8-1. I just think with Harry Cobden jocked up on board, he's dropping back into handicap company for the first time since New Year's Day in 2020. And look, he could be regressing. I completely understand that. But look, his last 2 runs at 3 miles are finishing 4th and 3rd in a King George. And here he is running here at Kempton in a grade 3 handicap. I just think he could be just the class edge here. Of course, David Maxwell isn't on board this weekend, which I think, God bless him, is going to be a plus. But I mean, he absolutely hacked up in the Oaksy Chase over 2 mile 6 on decent ground at Sandown in the spring. And I do think, although he wasn't that impressive at Kempton over 2.5 miles here last time out, he's dropped to a mark of 154. I gotta think he's still not exactly well handicapped, but I still gotta think he's a 150s horse. And if he is a 150s horse, I think he's got to go close. You'll be able to get 4 places, if not 5 places. I think St Calvados stepping back up to 3 miles is a decent bet of 13-2 each way.
Okay, there we go. A couple of, like short each way odds, but ones where, look, you're going to be getting just over your money back if they do play. So some people like to play it that way. Some people like to play win bets at the top of the market. Play it how you want, but we'll be playing them each way this week. And we'll talk briefly about the final graded race on the card there, Jack, the 340 at Kempton, which is the 2 mile Sky Bet Dovecote Novices Chase. And Hansard is the 13-8 favourite here for the Gary Moore team. They took this out last year with Shall We Have One More. Unfortunately, we lost that horse at the festival, but looked a really talented animal. Rubo is 3-1. You Can Tango 11-2. Imperial Bead is 15-2. Mullenbeg is 18-1. 22-1 about Cave Legend. Postmark is 28-1. This is a race where I just think this is very open, Jack. I think that potentially you can watch this race and look ahead to some of the other graded races, potentially at Aintree and the like. But if you had to force me to go one, I would be with Hansard. Ever so consistent, looks on the up, but it's not going to be a bet for me. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm not going to be having a bet at all, but Mullenbeg's, I think, quite interesting. They'll have to give her £7. She showed plenty of form in bumpers on good ground at Cheltenham, and of course, last time out at Cheltenham, didn't really stay the 2 mile one, but on her penultimate outing, absolutely hacked up at Ludlow. So it'll be interesting to see how Mullenbeg goes. I think she's about 18-1 at the moment.
Okay, Mullenbeg 18-1, one to potentially watch, but a fairly big price there. Now we'll move over to Newcastle, shall we, for the Eder Chase? Is that how you say it in a Geordie accent? I'm not going to give it a go.
That was a horrible
shocking
accent.
No,
you're usually quite good with your accents as well.
I'm just good with the French. We'll wait until the French racing comes on the flat season. Don't worry about that. But the 325 is the 4.25 mile Vertum Ida Handicap Chase, a Class 2 handicap, and Kitty's Light for Christian Williams, 11-4 favourite. Bavington Bob is 8-1, along with Sam's Adventure. The Galloping Bear, 9-1. Bushy Park and Eve is Oscar, 11-1 and 16-1, and bigger the rest. Now, I'll be totally honest, Jack, I love watching this race, but I absolutely hate it as a betting proposition. I really do. I'd love to see Sam's Adventure run well. One last time out, looked really good. I mean, he's 11-year-old. He's just going to be one of those horses that plugs on like a boat in a race like this. But look, it's one of those where I said I've had an each way bet on Cap de Nor in the Coral Trophy. It might be one where I just have to put a small double on with Kitty's Light and Christian Williams to take out the 2 big handicap chases at the weekend. And look, we haven't seen this horse win for a fair while, but put in a decent third last time out. Jack Tudor comes here to take the ride. Look, again, not confident. Might want to have a small double on come the day, but yeah, I'd stick with Kitty's Light in this. Yourself?
Yeah, it's an interesting race. Again, not exactly one that I like to get stuck into. The only 4 miler I like to get stuck into is the old Midlands National, which is just after the Friday of Cheltenham, of course, which unfortunately there's train strikes this year, so it'd be hard to get to Uttoxeter this year, which is a bit of a shame. But I'll probably be with Bavington Bob here, who I think has kind of just been screaming out for a marathon trip, and I think he's definitely worth a go at this marathon trip. And the handicap has been a little bit lenient. I mean, his second at Kelso last time out, he was keeping on over 3 miles on heavy ground, and then at Kelso over 3.25 miles. He just really wasn't on a going day that day, when 8th of 10. But he's related to an Irish national winner, Last Link, and I just think this step up to a marathon trip like 4 miles will definitely be suited. He's still got a good win record as well. He's 4 from 9 over fences, so I still think off a mark of 135. He was rated 139 at Haydock in April, so I think they may have been planning out something like this, and it'd be nice to see Anne Hamilton take out a big pot like this.
It would, and Brian Hughes, the mustard man on board, 8-1, currently an each way price there. I'm going to be catching up with Keith Melrose tomorrow, and for some reason, Keith Melrose, this is his favourite race of the year. It's an interesting one to have as your favourite race here, but he does have a good record, Melrose, at tipping in this. So if you do pick up the Racing Post, another plug there, but check out who he's tipping for the race. But I won't be shying away from Kitty's Light, potentially in a double with Captain Nort. Let's move away then from the TV action and get our other selections. This is where sometimes you can get some hot winners off us. Jack, I'll start with you. I know we've got some action out on the flat. You're probably not going to be touching too much of that. You'll be giving it a watching brief. But what else have you got elsewhere?
If the ground stays dry at Chepstow, I think Raf McNee's a cracking price at 10-1. In the 157 at Chepstow on Saturday, that is, in a 0-125 handicap. Last time out, he ran in a 0-145 at Uttoxeter on soft ground. Hated the soft ground. The time before that, ran in the Lanzarote hurdle, and we all know what happened in that ground. But on his penultimate outing, won at Doncaster over 2 mile 3 on good ground. I think he should have gone really close in Cheltenham as well in October when he was 10th, the saddle slip coming over the last, but he travelled beautifully. Nico gave him a really confident ride around the outside that day. So, I mean, it'd be very interesting to see if he does go for this. If he does go for it, I think on good to soft ground, I think he's an absolutely cracking price at a double figure price. He's 10-1 at the moment. So if the ground comes up, we're waiting for the day, but if the ground is a sound surface on the day, I think Raf McNee will go very close in the 157 at Chepstow.
157 at Chepstow. There we go. See, look, you just go somewhere completely random for your selections. We've also got good action on Sunday as well. I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. But let's kick things off for me, starting off at Meydan tomorrow, where for some reason I've just been firing in winners. It's become a bit of a niche, Jack, this for me. But the 225, there is a dirt handicap over 6 furlongs. I really like Royal Commando here, really like him. He ran 6th in a listed race on the turf at the back end of January. That was actually quite a strong race. The 5th in that race was City Walk, who came out and won last week. And yeah, this horse then went on to run in the dirt. I like horses that do this, that go from the turf to the dirt, because you end up seeing a completely different horse sometimes. And this horse here looked completely rejuvenated, second in a conditioned race, and was never going to get to leader, but stayed on really well and looked like he learnt a lot from running on the dirt. He now steps into handicap company on dirt for the first time, but I think he could be far better than his mark. The favourite colour up is currently 2-1. And I just think that this horse is far too short. Now, he was actually beaten colour up last time up by a Bingadire horse. Bingadire also trains Royal Commando in Rory. And I can see colour up taking a big drift on the day, because Rory is rated very similar to Royal Commando. And I would probably say that they think Royal Commando could be very smart on the dirt for the Bingadire stable. So, yeah, like 130, I think that's the current price about this horse, Royal Commando on Friday. And a brief mention for the Saudi Cup meeting on Saturday. It is a cracking card. We see the return of Subjectivist as well out there. He's I think he's about 11-2 for the staying handicap chase. I mean, I'd actually staying handicap chase, staying handicap race. Sorry, the race. Sorry, I mean we could put him in a chase. Who knows? It's the kind of thing a lot of jumps fans end up wanting to do. Take these good horses that stay on the flat and put them over them. Ruin them. But yeah, look, Subjectivist, I'd like to see him come back to his best. He's not a bet, is he? But you'd love to see him show some of that ability he showed when winning the Gold Cup a few years back, because he can be a player against Kyprios come this season. But the horse I like out there is in the 4:45, and it's the dirt sprint out there, and it's Gunite. He's a 9-2 shot currently. You can probably get bigger with other bookmakers when they release their prices. There's only one bookmaker that I can see have got the price for this horse, but the American Raider, this is for a trainer who actually just recently celebrated his 10,000th winner in Stephen Asmussen. So he's going to have a bit of a party this weekend, hopefully. And this horse actually hosed up in a listed race at Oaklawn Park over 6 furlongs a few weeks back, and the trainer specifically highlighted this was to get him ready for this race. The horse has been so consistent, hasn't been outside the top 3 I think he's only been outside the top 3 in 2 of his 10 or 11 starts. So he's very, very consistent. And what some people may not remember about this horse, he was actually at the Breeders' Cup and ran in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and finished 4th behind the amazing story that was Cody's Wish. Jack and I were reacting to that on the night, and that was a fantastic story. But I think the mile just caught him out. He just doesn't stay a mile. 6 furlongs is absolutely perfect on a track like this, very similar to the American tracks. I think this is perfect. So Gunite at 9-2 for me looks a cracking bet. I will just, with regards to Saudi Cup, I'd just say that the Saudi runners may have a fair chance in that. I think they're going to be overlooked. They're all big prices, but they're going to be overlooked because the American and Japanese raiders are all going to be well supported. So yeah, I wouldn't put you off a Saudi horse winning it once again. Emblem Road looking to do back-to-back in that race. And then Sunday, Jack, get to head to Fontwell for their big race of the weekend. And oh yes, it's always here. It is the T-shirt. He has to run. It's
everywhere. That thing was on the back of your wardrobe yesterday. Now it's there. Yeah. It's under the desk. It's hiding everywhere.
Back of the wardrobe. I'm pretty sure Mark Arofsky held it aloft on Racing Post Live a few months back. This T-shirt goes everywhere. I don't know whether to take it on Sunday, but I'm going to be there to see Goshen run. I will not be backing him, I'll be totally honest, but I will be supporting him. Gary Moore has 2 entered. It's interesting that they're coming here. This is where Goshen kind of announced himself, wasn't it? Before going on to what happened in the Triumph, but it was where he really kind of put his name down and went, here we go, I'm a real contender. So looking forward to that. It's not the best race in the world, but we'll see declarations come out on Friday.
I'll tell you what, you know the winner's photo at Fontwell, how they have it with actually the crowd behind. Yeah. I think your goal, if Goshen is to win, is to be there with the T-shirt like this behind for all to see.
Okay. Do you know what? I'll agree. If he wins, I'll take the T-shirt with me, I'll put it in my pocket, and I will hold it aloft for the winner's photo. I'll agree to that.
Thank you.
And if we find out we can get the winner's photo or Sky Sports catch on camera, then we'll put it up on our Twitter. No problem at all. Right, that is it then for this week's preview. We probably won't be back next week, and we'll have to make a decision. We'll let you know on Twitter, but we have got our Cheltenham Festival preview evening on Friday night. Jack and I will be preparing plenty for that, lots to organise, but we see Matty Batcher and Niall Houlihan. You can still purchase tickets. There's a good crowd coming already, but if you do still want to grab some, you can give myself or Jack a message, and we will tell you how to get involved. We'll have some giveaways on the night, a nice charity raffle, and there will be a nice bar there for you to enjoy until late after the preview. Have a few drinks with myself and Jack, and potentially a few with Matty and Niall. So yeah, it should be really good. But as always, like, subscribe, comment, get involved, and we will see you very soon.